So my name is Megan, and I've been in recovery for 5 years. My sobriety date is May 22nd, 2017.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Megan, for coming out and joining us and being willing to share your journey with us today. We really, really do appreciate it. So we'll just kind of get going from the beginning. So let's talk about your childhood. So tell me what it was like. Did you grow up with both of your parents? Did you experience any trauma, school life, siblings, all that kind of thing?
So my parents got divorced when I was 6 months old. And so that was always kind of normal for me to have two separate homes. Kids would make fun of me in school saying, where's your daddy? And I'm like, my dad has his own house. I don't know why that's so weird. So I just kind of grew up that way. As I got older, both of my parents had more children. So I was the oldest of 7 total, and all halves, of course. But I don't see that like that today, which is really, really amazing that I get to have a relationship with them today. But so my mom had custody of me, and she wasn't really around much. We went to the bars a lot when I was really little. I learned how to play pool and how to hustle and cheat and lie and steal and curse and all the things little kids shouldn't know how to do. So my grandmother, her mom, she kind of kept me really close, and we hung out all the time. We did old people stuff, like crafts and puzzles and things like that, and swimming in the pool. And she was just everything to me. She kept me really, really close. And she passed away when I was 12. And I feel like that's kind of really where everything really took off for me. Kids started saying that I was talking to myself. So as I grew up with these symptoms, I didn't even know that I had mental illness. And until I got sober, actually, I was diagnosed schizophrenic. But these kids would tell me that I'm talking to myself, and tell me that I was doing things that I don't remember, and just all of these things. But I feel like that really hit off when my grandma passed away. That was the first time I tried to kill myself. I remember my mom was never really home, and so I came home from school, and that day I really didn't want to go to school. And today I know that that's my intuition that I get to listen to, that I didn't listen to then. But school was kind of my getaway. It was the one thing nobody could tell me that I was bad at because my grades said otherwise, So I came home from school that day, and my mom was home, and which was weird, but I didn't think anything of it. My routine was usually just drop my bag and run over to grandma's because we lived next door. My grandpa built my mom a house right next door, so that way we were close. We were always there. And I ran in the house and dropped my book bag and turned around to grandma's, and she grabbed my arm and said that nobody could save me anymore. Grandma was dead. So I don't remember feeling sad. She was the only one that ever told me about God and praying, never pray for yourself. And heaven was a beautiful place, and so I don't remember feeling sad. I just remember feeling like, okay, grandma went to heaven, so now it's my turn to go to heaven. And I had this God tree in the side field that I could climb because it was like short enough for me to climb. And grandma said that I have to be close to him at all times. So I would just like climb as high as I could, with this childlike faith that I could touch him or something and climb in the tree and just talk to him, just like I'm talking to you, And I took my jump rope and I went out to that tree, and I climbed as high as I could and tied it around my neck and jumped down. And the rope broke, and I remember my face hitting the ground, and this just like anger came up out of me that, I wasn't good enough for anything. I wasn't good enough to go to heaven. I was being punished to stay here, and, XYZ, you put it together. And I just let all of that out because I didn't have to be anybody anymore. My grandma was gone. And so I started getting really violent in school. Getting in fights and, getting in fights with the teachers. And I still did really well in school, probably all the way until my senior year. That's when I was going to college full time. I wasn't going to high school at all. And I just blew off classes. At that point I didn't care about anything. I just wanted to die. I wanted my to be out of this world. I didn't feel like I was a part of this world at all. And I wasn't scared to die. I was like scared to live. I just didn't want to be around these people. And I, tried repeatedly from that first time I tried to kill myself, all the way up until I got sober. But I couldn't, and I truly believed that God wasn't letting me die. So I blamed him more. And if I couldn't, take myself out of this world, then I was just gonna, destroy myself and everybody around me. And I just created this war path of anywhere that I went, and anything that looked dangerous, I signed up, put myself in really bad situations, got involved with, the wrong crowd always. And I became affiliated with some really, really amoral people. And it just kept going from there. I kept doing the bar scene and disrespecting myself and my body. Everything that I said I would never do, know. And it just was drink trouble, drugs trouble. I mean, just left and right, jails, institutions, everything, you name it. Just got worse and worse, never better. And I always thought that, if I could just have this one thing, if I could just win the lottery or anything was a problem for me. If I could just find the one man, or if I could just find the one job, and anything, the dog, have 2 cars. It was always external from me I was searching for. And even when I got it, I still wasn't happy. Never. I was still never happy.
Right. So when was the first time that you started experimenting with drugs or alcohol?
Not until I'm 27. So, and I got sober when I was 22. Yes, 5 years. And so literally 20 or 21 is when I probably had the first hard drug. I mean,
really?
I smoked weed, you know, all through teenage years. And I started selling weed, driving to Detroit, and picking up weed and bringing it back and selling it. When I was really young. But hard drugs I didn't touch until I started working in the bars. I was dancing, and girls said that this pain pill will take away the aches and pains from walking around in heels and all of that, and then coke will make you drink more, so you can keep drinking, and then it just went from there. It just kept getting more and more and more. And then I met a guy who I thought was the greatest thing since, fresh ice. And, he was everything that I saw a ticket to a really bad door, and because I was in the place that I was, and I just wanted to destroy everything, he was like my golden ticket, and I used that. And so when I met him, it was like, from that point on, I did everything under the sun. Everything under the sun. Just breaking the law left and right. And it's crazy to think about this bottom that I had. It wasn't even my bottom. It didn't even get me into recovery. And it's so crazy to think about, because I was 60 pounds soaking wet. Wow. I looked like a walking skeleton. My face and body looked like Freddy Krueger from picking it off, from just doing so many amphetamines, and landed myself in jail again. And I didn't have a care in the world. I think I smiled in my mugshot, So I can't really place drinking in there, but every time that I did drugs, it was always to stop my head. My head just... There was constant voices and constant, I never knew, my biggest thing was I never knew if I was sleeping or if I was awake, and it was like
scary.
Terrifying, because I could be talking to you like I am right now and fall asleep, and it would pick up right here. And it was awful. It was like, I did things awake thinking I was sleeping, and harmed people, and then people have harmed me when I was sleeping and I thought I was awake. Like, it was just this crazy, I never knew what was real, and the noise in my head. Like, I truly believed that the only thing that would make it stop was a bullet in my brain. And so when I started doing drugs, like, it would go away for like a second, And then finally my drug of choice was methamphetamines. And when I normally people on methamphetamines go like zing, 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 and it just made me, what I thought anyway, was just normal. Like the voices went away and I thought that I was like cool, calm, and collected, when really I was catatonic. I mean, disintegrating in a chair. I thought that I was off doing all these things and I was just dying in a chair, there was a point, that bottom where I was 60 pounds soaking wet, I didn't eat, drink, sleep for 45 days. And I thought I was going around doing all these things, and I wasn't. I was just catatonic in a chair. Yeah.
Wow. That's a crazy story and a very good description, though, of what, drugs can do to our minds and our bodies. And it's just such a miracle that you're sitting here, today. So let's talk about the last 2 weeks before you decided to make a change. So what were those days like? What was that turning point for you where you're like, I gotta get help right now?
So I wish that I could say it was some moment where I'm going to get better and change my life and do things right, and it wasn't. It absolutely wasn't. It was an awful motive, Like I said, I tried to kill myself again and again and again. I mean, there was a time where I had my single shot 12 gauge in my mouth with a loaded 3 Magnum, and I pulled the trigger and it didn't go off. And I got mad and pulled it out and shot it into the woods and it went off. And I just blamed God every time, I knew he wasn't letting me go, and it just made me mad, more and more mad. And so finally, the last time I landed myself in jail, at that point it was normal to be in jail, it was just comfortable, whatever. And this time just felt different. Not so much that I didn't want to be there, but it was just, how am I here, and just really observing everything around me. And I remember like just crying and just saying like, whatever you want me to be here for, that you won't let me go, let's just get it the hell over with. Like, if you want me to go praise in church, or you want me to go travel the world for this one person or whatever, like whatever the heck it is, let's just get it over with so I can kill myself. I'm done. I don't want to, And that was a sort of surrender, is what I've learned today, even with a bad motive. And so my first thought was my grandfather, who was in the program also for 37 years. And, I essentially made him my higher power. Like, okay, well, I'll just go around with him and he'll keep me sober. I'll do whatever he says, and he'll keep me sober. And, I was like, okay with that, but still bad motives. I wasn't thinking about changing my lifestyle. I wasn't thinking about changing the people that I hung out with. I wasn't thinking about stopping to drink. I just was concerned about the drugs, and any of those things. And so it was a week before I was going to NeoCap for treatment, and my dad visited me in jail, and he didn't do that. He didn't want to see me in my blues or my hair braided or me talking sideways is what I call it, or throwing up gang signs. So he just didn't come. And he came to tell me that my grandfather had passed. And truly it wasn't until I went to his services. By the grace of God, I was able to go to both of his services. He had 2 on 2 separate days. But I was able to go, and the people that were there were just crying like so hard, and I had no idea who these people were, and like in that moment I was able to like experience like genuine pure love from people that weren't blood. And I thought that that's the only place I was going to get love was from blood. That's how I grew up, and I mean it wasn't,
Yeah, right.
I didn't even really feel that love from blood family. And so experiencing that, it was like this overhaul of that's what I want. That's what I've wanted all along, and I just didn't know it. And I said that I was going to get it and I wouldn't let anything get in my way,
Did you start seeing a therapist or anything outside of that? Okay.
Yeah, I went to, for 3 years, I was at Beacon Health, and I was able to get clear enough to a point where I grabbed onto God, my higher power, which I didn't know at the time, you know, and do this thing. And a year into my sobriety, little after a year, I was able to get completely off medication. And it's crazy because I was just talking to my boyfriend about this yesterday or the other day. Nobody would know that I'm schizophrenic by looking at me or talking to me, which is such a beautiful, amazing thing. But it's not that it's gone, it's still there. But I believe like God like put this cloak over me. It feels like he put this like cloak over me to where I don't have to remember. I don't have to remember my dreams and wake up screaming and feel like somebody's gonna kill me, or have these voices in my head tearing me apart, fighting to be me, you know, and be out and just go through these convulsions and all these different things, or word salad. It's like he just put this cloak over me. And I believe that because in my sobriety, the moment that I'm not close with him, it all comes rushing back like it never left. It's like the craziest thing. And so it's like my sobriety is important to me, and I fight for that every single day. But like for my like sanity too, I fight to be so close to him, because otherwise it just, you know, when I'm close with God, they're like few and far between that I have any episode or symptoms, anything.
It's amazing to me how they like correlate, you know,
Yeah.
and it's the things that like will keep us healthy, like the good things for you. So what are some things that you have been able to do in recovery that wouldn't have been possible in active addiction, or, you know, when your mental health wasn't under control?
Yeah. I get to be present today, and I didn't know how important that was. So growing up, you know, the siblings at my mom's house, I was there, you know, and then so when I was old enough, I left, and I didn't even realize, because I was so consumed in self, that I didn't even realize that I left them too, you know, and so they were feeling and thinking the same ways that I was when I was their age. And today I get to know, you know, things that they like to do, you know, their friends, their whatever, and get to individually, on an individual basis, know them. Just, you know, I get to be there. And friends, I get to have genuine friends today. And I got to know and experience what true love is. So that's a big one, just to experience the love, you know, because I wasn't capable of it, you know. I wasn't able to receive it, and I certainly wasn't able to give it to others because I wasn't able to give it to myself, you know. So that's an incredible thing, being able to love myself today. And I find new ways to love myself. And material things, you know, like I have a piece of property, 8.5 acres, and I'm building my first home. Like,
how cool is that?
I didn't think that was ever going to be possible. I designed my dream home, which was just a pipe dream, never going to happen, when I was 16. And the crazy thing is, looking back on those drawings and designs, the home that I designed for myself today that's happening in real life is so similar to that house at 16 years old, you know. And it's really happening. It's like really
Right.
happening. This is real. This
You
is
made
real
that
life.
dream come true.
Yeah,
That's
you know.
so cool.
I heard in one of my business classes that I did, the speaker, she was like, you know, you're the CEO of your dreams, and the only person in the way of that is you. You know, you declare that, you know, and I really actually took that on. But I'm able to go to school today. I was able to go back to school and get my first degree in my whole family. And now I'm almost done with my second degree. And my goal was my master's, and my mom said, why are you going to stop there? You know, and I didn't think a doctoral of business existed, but it does. And, you know, I'm going to do that.
Wow.
And hopefully one day be able to consult businesses and just travel and be able to point out small changes you can make to make a difference in the company as a whole, and just be a better company, a better owner, a better employees, just all around better. That would be really incredible.
Well, before you become like big and bad, like if you can give me any suggestion, that would be great. What have you learned from your addiction?
Ugh. That just a moment of feeling good is just that, just a moment. It goes away so fast, and it's just not worth it. All the turmoil that it brings, all the broken hearts that it surrounds, and the people that it kills, whether it's spiritually or physically or emotionally, it's just not worth it. Because to come back from that, if you even can, like I know I definitely have another drunk in me. I definitely have another drug in me, but I don't believe I have another sobriety in me, another recovery in me. I won't make it back.
Yeah.
I just won't. It's not worth it.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. So for somebody that is out there struggling, do you have any words of hope that you could share?
Oh my goodness. Just try. Just try. Even if it seems like it's the hardest thing in the world. I couldn't never imagine my life without one drink of alcohol. It's always been there. There was no start date, I thought I was gonna always drink. Even smoking cigarettes, I quit smoking cigarettes. That's something I thought I was always gonna have, a pack of Marlboro Reds and, my whiskey right next to me. I never imagined it would be any different. And so just try. And the higher power thing, the God thing, what's so beautiful about that is there's no right or wrong to it. Anybody can tell you, it has to be this way, or it has to be this way, or you have to get on your knees, or you have to do whatever, it doesn't. It can be whatever. And my conception of my higher power on my day one of sobriety is so much more different than it is today, and that's the point. You're supposed to, like, if it stops working, throw it out and try something new to believe in him, and if you're struggling praying, just talk, just like I'm talking to you right now.
Yeah.
It's so easy. We make it seem a lot harder than it is.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And it definitely, I seriously thought that getting sober was supposed to be rainbows and butterflies and unicorns, and it wasn't. Like in my first year of sobriety, I got raped again. In my childhood, I was raped and molested and all of those things. And I thought those things didn't happen anymore, So by no means is sobriety this walk-all, and by the grace of God, that didn't send me back out, because I had to learn fast that life doesn't change. My perspective had to change, and so no matter today, now, because of that, like, no matter what happens, I get to have a smile on my face, because now I know that my happiness is created, not given.
Yeah.
By anything, it's created.
Your life seems so beautiful, and like you just said, you've made it that way.
Yeah.
And that's what's so cool about it. You and your higher power, you've come a long way from 5 years ago. So your story helped me today. It's definitely going to help somebody out there. So I really appreciate it.